Hello and welcome to number 13 of our Mayenne snapshots. I'm Vanessa Williamson, talking very quietly because we are in the Basilica here in Mayenne, Notre Dame de Miracles. And today I'm going to revisit a story I began to tell you when we talked about the Cavalieri convent. And today we're going to talk about the three miracles of Mayenne that the small statue brought. Now the statue is no longer on permanent display here in the Basilica, and there's a representative statue which we think this is the right one, which is behind us, but because everything's closed for lockdown, there's no other lights on, so this is the best chapel for us to film in today. So the story began, as you might recall, with a small statue which in 1630 a post rider arrived at the convent of the Cavalieris and pulled out a parcel and handed it to the sisters with a message which basically said, "Go forth and prosper." And in the package, the sisters found the small wooden statue, which dates to around 1475, a carved statue of the Virgin that's painted in white and red and the traditional colours of blue of the Virgin. And it's easy to date this beautiful statue because she's smiling and she's angelic. It's not the pain that we see on the statues of the Virgin that emerge in imagery in the Renaissance. And the miracle of the arrival of the statue brought donations and pilgrims and prosperity to the convent. The story moves on to the French Revolution when, as you may know, the churches were closed, everyone was removed from the churches. Imagery within the churches was defaced and destroyed. Faces were taken out of effigies in churches, and that's evident as we explore across France and we see evidence of this destruction that came through from the Revolution. But what happened to the statue? Well, three sisters who were novitiates at the convent took and rescued the statue, and it was held within their family. When it re-emerges in the late 1890s, the basilica here had been expanded, developed and rebuilt, and was really the lifeblood of a very, very religious and devout community here in Mayenne. And the return of the statue led the Pope to bestow a blessing at Notre Dame in Mayenne and gave it the status of a basilica. And this is more of an architectural description of a basilica. There's two different kinds, and it's a minor basilica, and there are 169 in France, and 10 of them are here in Pays de Loire, and I'm standing in one of them. And this was a miracle for the people of Mayenne. And so the second miracle was born of the blessings that the small statue brought to the town of Mayenne. We move on through the First World War and the Second World War, and by June 1944, the Allies are bombing Mayenne. It brought the first real devastation of the war to Mayenne, and the entire end of this church was hit by a Australian-American bomb, and the church was basically destroyed. And on the following day, the Bishop of Le Mans came straight through to Mayenne to inspect the devastation. And he walked through here where I was standing, where there was no more roof and no more vaulting, and all the arches and everything was completely gone. And he looked down under his feet and he saw a glimmer of red and blue through the rubble, and he bent down and moved the rubble, and he picked up the statue of the Virgin that had been on display here in the church. And she had survived the fire and the devastation of the bombing. This little timber figure wasn't broken, she was perfect. And the people of Mayenne saw this as being their third blessing. And so this is a wonderful story of joy, and across time and across war, to bring something special. And once a year, the statue is brought out, and we have come to Mass here on that special holy day, and the Basilica was full. The young, the old, it was full of music and singers and musicians, and the church just echoed with the most wonderful, happy, joyful music. It was a very, very moving day, and it was the first time Matt and I really experienced knowing people here in the community as people that we had met over the previous 6 months of our arrival came to welcome us and to say hello. And so for us, that holds a really, really strong memory. So that's today's snapshot, a little bit across time, one small statue, and if I can find my photo, I'll include it in my little video for you today. So this is Vanessa signing off. See you tomorrow.